to Film Talk with AJ Dean. I'm your host, AJ Dean, and I have the wonderful co-host here with me, Paul Vato from Las Vegas. Hello, Paul.
Hello, I'm actually in outer space today, but it's good to be here.
It's wonderful. You look fabulous.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we have an amazing show. I'd like to introduce our wonderful guest today. We have the incredible Noah A. Waters III. He is a director, producer, comedian, and mental illness advocate. And we're going to talk about his wonderful film coming up, Relationship Killers, starring Assia Lau'ren, the beautiful Assia Lau'ren, who we have here. Also, she is a actress and producer and also photographer. So welcome. Hello, Assia. Hello, Noah. How are you?
Hi.
Doing good.
My first show.
This is great. This is great. We're so happy to have you. And this is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to jump right into it and ask, what is Relationship Killers, your wonderful movie, Noah? What is it about?
They are, relationship killers are an actual mental health term. They identify behaviors and traits and actual acts and sometimes words that a lover's partner could use or commit that would cause them enough strain on the relationship that they would want to end it. So therefore, it's a relationship killer.
Are they like triggers, Noah?
Sometimes, yeah. It depends on the psychology. You know, everyone has a different love language. Some of us are emotionally intelligent enough to be able to express what our specific love language are. Some of us aren't. Some of us struggle because we don't know what it is. Some of us have a very specific one that's tough to deal with. And when that lack of communication comes into play with a relationship, it can in and of itself kill the relationship. So I wanted to tell a rather dark story that had comedic elements to it, but just focus on two characters who are at that part of the relationship where they truly know where each other's buttons are, probably because they put a few of them there. So they know exactly what to do to really piss the other one off. And with that knowledge and the love that they have, they need to go to their first session for couples counseling. And that's where the film takes place.
Amazing. And Assia, you play the leading star, the lead. Can you tell us a little bit about that, your role?
Well, her name is Braven. She's English. And I love her. No, she's great. She is a unbothered woman, and she is not bothersome at all. And there was a lot of me that I found in her. So it was fun to explore that. And she's married to Betty, short for Better Grain. And she loves her to death, and really is, though there is conflict that you will see in the film, there is a clear understanding of like, no, these two do love each other and they do want to make this work. Braven, she's amazing. She's great.
Sounds wonderful. Now, Noah, this is such an important issue for not only you, but for many, many people in the world of mental illness. You are an advocate for mental illness and for helping people and authenticity and getting help when it is needed. So we can talk frankly about it. This feature is going to be so important because it'll probably help a lot of relationships, and it'll help reveal ways that we can be and improve ourselves so that we can change for the better. Don't you agree? Can you talk a little bit about that? Absolutely.
Yeah. I've struggled with mental illness my entire life. I've always had a really good support group around me. I come from an amazing family. I've always had a close group of friends. However, because of the specific thought patterns and the way, the specific way in which my brain is broken causes me a great deal of difficulty to ask for help, because it all is rooted in and comes from an extreme phobia of disappointing others. That's a breakthrough that I had within the past 5 years, actually, through CBT and psychiatry. I know now that if there was a removal of the stigma around asking for help as a weakness, as a moment of a failure, which, you know, I know a great deal of people have a fear of, that I probably would have had a much easier time dealing with my specific mental illness. So I have a goal, and this is pretty fresh. This is pretty new. I've always had a place in my heart for mental health and mental illness, but within the past probably 4 to 6 months, I've realized a need for a removal of the stigma around knowing that you need help and asking for help and knowing that there's nothing wrong with that. So how do we remove the combination of toxicity as well as misinformation in our culture, which is that if I need help, then I am a victim, I'm a bad person, I'm someone who is less than others, and admitting that means that I am going to receive a great deal of pity and have people feel sorry for me, which are all things that I feared, especially as a kid. So I have a personal goal, and now I'm making it a professional one, to remove the stigma around being afraid to ask for help, and also our alternative use of therapy and mental illness, specifically with psychedelics and with various forms of therapy, which we explore in our film Relationship Killers. You know,
Sounds wonderful.
yeah, our therapist is someone who is insanely difficult to listen to, because he is one of those individuals who is insanely intelligent in a very specific subject matter. He's one of the world's greatest psychoanalysis individual, and he knows that. And the way he breaks it down for people is like a preschool teacher stopping the kids that, no, listen to me, this is how things are. Which, again, when we talk about love languages, not everyone's going to respond well to that, you know. But he is a subject matter expert, and he ends up helping Braven and Betty in a very real way that we can't reference because it would ruin the ending.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It sounds fabulous. You know, I do want to say a little bit blurb about it. This has been your film, Relationship Killers, has been officially selected for the Golden State Film Festival. Oh, it's going to premiere at the Golden State Film Festival February 26th at 9:30 p.m. TCL Chinese Theater. Tickets online at www.goldenstatefestival.com/tickets. So this is such an important topic. Paul, did you want to chime in and share a little bit about what your feelings on this important subject?
Yeah, well, I think you hit the nail right on the head that it is an important, it's a very important subject, and I'm glad that it's coming to the forefront. It's hopefully making it easier, and you know, obviously, you know, there are people that have to kind of break down those doors. So thank you for doing that with this film. But I think it'll make it easier for others that might be suffering. You know, because I think I'm the same way. You know, being raised in I guess an immigrant family, you would say, because my father's from Mexico, and you know, I was born when he was much older. I think he was 42 when I was born. So, and my mom, you know, quite younger. But you know, it's not something that they're like, oh, how's your mental health doing? It's just like kind of like walk it off, sleep it off. You know, you want to hear about hard times? Let me tell you. You know, so it's great that we're actually now finally able to maybe talk about it without this stigma, and it doesn't make you less of a person if you know, if you're asking for help. And you know, I've tried to get things done on my own, and I've realized it's a lot easier when you have a nice network, a support group, like even doing this, AJ. So thank you for having me as a co-host, because a lot of times I try to do things all on my own, and then nothing really gets done. So this is fantastic. But I think most importantly, I like to say that thank you for casting an American. I think Asia is from the US, playing a British person for once, as opposed to the other way around, where they're always coming over here, stealing our acting jobs. So Asia, thank
those
you.
damn immigrants.
Those, you know what? Definitely build that wall, because, and I've told this especially to Canadians. I'm like, you guys stay over there. You know, we have a limited amount of comedic acting jobs, and you come over here and steal our jobs. And I think I've told that to a few. I know I told to Dan Aykroyd and a few other Mike Myers. So I think they thought it was funny. But yes, that's right. So it's refreshing to see that you're putting on a British accent, and I'm sure it's fabulous, because I pride myself in being able to tell when a British person is playing an American, because they kind of hit that R a little
Real
too hard.
Too hard.
You know, you're like, oh, is that a British person? I'm like, that's okay. That's what's going on here. So thank you.
You know, I want obviously I want to give Asia time to speak about this, and I apologize for interrupting, but I do want to. You bring up something that's really important to me, Paul, which is first of all, you're an amazing comedic actor. I really want to work with you, and I know we've talked about that on Clubhouse several times, but we got to make that happen in the next. You know, it's a new year, brother. We got to do something together. But you bring up the stigma within inside culture, and that is a real thing. Something that I love as a storyteller are subcultures, and something I love as a filmmaker are subgenres. Like I love the idea of getting into a world that I don't know, you know, because that excites me. I know that there are a couple of diversity and inclusion elements to this film, but none of it was nothing but organic. Like none of it was ever like, I want to make a film with a Black lead. None of it was, I want to make a film that features a Native American. None of it was, I want to make a film set in the LGBTQIA plus arena. It was just, what's interesting, where does the story naturally go if the prose is being generated and a basis of character, you know, and you know, you talk about the culture of the family that you come from. Again, asking for help is like, you know, do you know what I went through to get you here? Like, you know, there is that kind of thing, but specifically, and admittedly, I am a straight white male, but in the LGBTQ plus arena, there is a great deal of not only mental illness issues, but also abuse and harassment that goes without being reported or dealt with, because it is looked upon as if this did come to light, it would bring bad media and attention to our community. So that gets swept under the rug, which is just as toxic as what you're talking about. You know, whatever, you know, culture that you come from, whatever background you come from, that might have a great deal of effect on what you feel comfortable with sharing. You know, we all think of you know, like Red Foreman from That 70s Show. Could you imagine having to approach a dad like that with some kind of issue? You know, like that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. But then if you take that and you put that in a world that you don't know, that you aren't intimately familiar with, and you explore it from a place of empathy, rooted in character-driven storytelling, that was the origin of Relationship Killers. That's where it kind of came from. And that was a really long rabbit trail to get all the way back around to Asia. What was it like?
We'd like to hear from Asia, please.
No, that makes sense. And I think that's going to be what the audience realizes. And I think that's what also drew me to it, was because like I'm straight. And also I believe when you initially wrote the character of Braven, you did not have a Black woman in mind. But that just goes to speak like storytelling does not have to have a certain shade of skin. You don't have to be within a certain group of the population to empathize and to tell a story. And I love that this film is not about them being a lesbian couple. They're just a married couple. It's not even, it's not hit on at all. It's just these two people in love happen to be two women, not a factor. And they both happen to be, you know, one is Black and one is Native American. Not brought up at all. And we need more of that.
Yeah.
Because, and we all see it in terms of the industry where we are like, they're shoving films and television shows down our throats to tell us this is what Black people live like. And they're just, and it's like, can I just be entertaining without having to show the Black, you know, struggle? And it's the same for the LGBTQ community and, you know, across the board. So yeah, I love that aspect of this project.
I love it too. And I love what you're going to say. You answered my question, Asia. I was going to ask what drew you to this wonderful lead role. It sounds perfect for you, and you're just going to shine so brightly in it. And I'm so proud of you. I'm also proud of you, Noah. I want to ask you, were you inspired to make this the theme of this film, your film? Did COVID inspire you at all? Did the shutdown and all of that, is that what was a little bit behind the inspiration of creating this film as well?
No, Betty and Braven have been with me since I was probably like 16, 17 years old. I've had this cinematic universe called Lethal Ladies that I've been dealing with for a very, very long time. And instead of developing the world and the rules and of how it operates, I've just been doing nothing but character study and whom these women are and why they are the way they are and why they say the things they say. So instead of using the proof of concept, the traditional route, which is this is what the film could look like, is I just wanted to make an entry of like, this is an origin story for these two characters. And so COVID was obviously a huge factor into our production, but on the narrative side, this existed before the pandemic was even a thing. But you are correct. Yeah, we got shut down like 3 times, I think. Yeah. We pushed almost a year because of production, or because of concerns. You know, as a director, my chief thing is to keep my cast and crew safe and sane, because film, you know, is it's a demanding thing. And I know a lot of people are out there, you know, roofing in Arizona in the summer, but like, you know, filmmaking is a very, very tough endeavor, and Murphy's Law is nowhere more apparent than on a film set. And if anything can go wrong, it's going to go wrong, which is why I'm so neurotic when it comes to film prep. But for our production, you know, we were ready. I needed a cast who was willing to go the distance with me. I'm a very difficult person to work with, Asia can attest to. And when I say difficult, I don't mean that I'm mean. I don't let my actors get away with anything. Like you're gonna own every choice that you make. And there's going to be no surprises on set, but there's going to be a trustworthy, familial environment that you feel comfortable making choices that might seem extreme, but they're not going to be outside of my vision, because we've already done the work in prep. We've already done the work in rehearsal. I come from the theater, so we're going to rehearse and we're going to get extremely deep in the backstory. You know, when I cast, I don't give sides from the actual screenplay. I actually write a separate script, which is backstory for the characters to read, because I want to see what their take is on that.
Yeah.
I think they can do that well, then I bring them on, you know, or this, you know, the CD sends me and I bring them on that much further. But also they have to know that, you know, if you want to save it for your close-up, you don't need to be on my set. And in fact, you won't be, because I'll find that out really quickly when we start to prep. I take a great deal of care into making sure that the cast is prepared. They know what I want. There's no guesswork, but there's still room for inspiration. There's still room to move around, but we have those parameters so firmly set that there's safety. That they're not. And if I'm giving a note, it's never, I need you to be more angry, or I need you to come. It's first of all, I always address them in character, and second of all, I always just ask them a question and then ask them to answer the question with the next take. Because of that, not every actor is going to want to work with me, because especially in film and television, it's a great deal of well, I don't like to rehearse because I want it to be spontaneous. Okay, that's fine. Go work for Judd Apatow and Adam McKay. That's not how I operate, and I have respect for it. Trust me. One of my really great friends, who's a filmmaker, Steven Bernstein, he lives in spontaneity. He loves to let things fly. On my sets, everyone knows what I want, and I get what I want every time.
And they deliver, right? They deliver because you've got those high standards. I think, top professionals like yourself, Noah, have those high standards and high principles. And that's what makes, the machine work well, because it's all synergy, and that's how a production comes to be. I thank you so much for that explanation, and I loved what you said. I also loved what you said, Asia, and I did want to hand it over to Paul in a minute, but before I do, I did want to ask you one question. Either of you can answer this. Can you share with us some bloopers or funny stories that happened on the set?
You want to talk about dancing?
Yeah, so I have a standard operating procedure. First of all, both me and Asia are prior military. We didn't know that in the casting process. It wasn't until she was cast that we both realized we were Army veterans. But
thank you for your service.
Yes, I have a standard operating procedure on sets that every time we change a magazine, so for shooting film and we have to change out the cartridge, or if we're shooting on digital, every time I have to change the card, we stop, everyone breaks down, we drink water, and we dance. We play some music, we have some fun, especially on my sets, because I deal with a lot of very dark material. And when I talk about keeping my cast and crew sane, you never know what other people are going through. I found out on this set that afterwards that someone who was on our production had a family member who deals with the specific mental illness that Lexi's character Betty Grain deals with, and I didn't know until we had wrapped. So it was triggering for them, but in the same manner also they were able to cope because of the way I approached the material empathetically, but for them as well, they cared that much more about the project, which means everything to me. Yeah. So, especially on the crew side, a lot of them are just looking for a gig, and I need people who care at least 10% as much as I do, because no one's ever going to care about my film as much as I do. But if you can be willing to go the distance with me and have somewhat of a heart into the work that we're doing, we're going to work well together. We're going to have fun. We're going to work hard. But yeah, we're gonna play some music. We're gonna dance. We're gonna make sure that we're being safe. But we're gonna also bring levity to such a dark world that we're dealing with, because most of my material is extremely dark. I
love that, and I would love your set, because Paul and I would be dancing there with you and Asia. Asia, go ahead, take it away, Asia. Did you want to say something?
No, I mean, that I was going to mention that because it was the second day, right? And I think we were doing some pretty heavy scenes in the waiting room. And I remember like in between those scenes being able to just like, and because you don't realize how much of a toll certain things might be taking on you just emotionally. Even as an actor, you're just like, oh, I'm here, I'm in the moment, it's fine. And then like with those little breaks in between, it was just really refreshing. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It really sounds like it. And Paul, over to you.
Yeah, I would love to work with both of you. It's it's and I'm sure it would take me a little bit out of my comfort zone coming from this world of improv, but I'll definitely keep that in check. Well,
no.
you'll get the lines as you've written them.
Well, I honestly, Paul, I have a project I'm working on right now that I do want to do. I don't want to go completely Joe Swanberg style. I don't want to go completely Adam McKay. I don't want to go completely Judd Apatow. But I do want to use improv in the storytelling. And so I'm walking that line. I'm already talking to the DP about, because if you ever just touch one day of how neurotic I am with prep, I want to adapt that same level of attention to detail
Sure.
to the improv performance. Like maybe it's not, I am, dead letter perfect. I expect for you to say exactly what I wrote, the way I wrote it, because I wrote it in character. I need you to have the same level of attention to detail. But I love improv. I think that especially just getting improv level 2 on your resume, whether you want to be cast or crew, is one of the biggest outliers for me, because that tells me that how to properly yes and how to adapt and roll with the punches, whether you're a gaffer or whether you're the lead actor. That does a lot for me. But yeah, I do want to work in that world, but stay somewhat darker in material, but bring the light to it. Bring, like, how do we put the Jason Bateman straight man in the same situation that Betty and Braven were probably, but see how his reaction to the world going around him would be. But like if we did it like now, I'm consulting with several trans consultants and several non-binary consultants, because there's a great deal of there's a whole world there that we barely even know about.
Yes.
There's a great deal of comedy there. There's a great, you don't have to be, you should always be sensitive and come from a place deep in your heart. But the biggest way that that Noah cares about you is I'm giving you shit. You know what I mean? Like that's like that. That's how I vibe with people.
Thank you, Noah. I know you care about Paul and I, because you gave us this great interview tonight, and you as well, Asia. We're so thankful to you. So thankful. So very thankful. And you have a beautiful heart. That your heart is in the right place, Noah. And I think that's why Asia was attracted to this role as well of leading lady. And it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. What did you want to say, Asia?
Oh, I mean, I wasn't going to say anything right then, but I was just thinking earlier about what Noah said and how he's been with these characters for so long, like many years, over a decade, almost 2 decades, I think. And to entrust me and Lexi and everyone else with something so near and dear, that just speaks volumes. Like, I mean, all of us in this conversation, we have things that we really care about, no matter what it is, whether it's something that you write, something that you read, something that you cook, something that you just like to do out of habit, like yoga. It's something that you really care about, and to put that in the hands of someone else, that's a big deal. And so I'm just full of gratitude, because knowing Noah now, I'm like, I know that wasn't the easiest thing to just like hand it over. He handed us his baby. And yeah, so the film is special for that reason, which most people won't know, but like I know. So thank you, Noah.
Yeah, in total, I mean, there were well over 300 people who read for Braven.
Whoa. That's a huge, congratulations, Asia. That's a huge casting call right there, isn't it? Over 300?
Yeah, well, I mean, that number is over a long time. It's not like I did one call and I got 300 submissions. I'm not that level of director yet. But we went through, I needed the cast to be as talented as possible. I needed, I'm not a very intelligent or attractive person. So I needed incredibly beautiful badasses to really put these characters where they needed to be. And I found that in both Lexi and Asia. They were willing to go the distance. You know, I'm sorry. I know I'm horrible with rabbit trails, but let me say one more thing. With the self-tape audition process, you know, the CD sent me tons of people. There was a moment in the self-tape where I needed for the character of Braven, and both this is ironic too, both Lexi and Asia read for Braven, but in the audition I put in for the I don't know if you remember this, Asia, but for the character to jump at the camera, and Asia was one of the only ones who did it, and it scared me, and I was like, okay, let's do this.
Asia, did you jump at the camera?
I lunged, yeah, because it said like that I lunged, and so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna.
Yes, perfect. That's wonderful. So you had the confidence to do that, and then Noah said, okay, she's the one.
I also feel like writers and directors, they put that information in the script for a reason. And as an actor, an auditioning actor, it's not my job to like change what they prescribe. Not right now. Not until I meet them. And then again, like Noah will ask you, why did you make that choice? Why would Braven do that? And I'd have to explain it in the next scene. So yeah.
That is wonderful. Paul, did you want to ask a question or two?
I think everything's been answered. I don't know how much time we have left, but I could keep talking to these two for all night, because it fascinates me that you're able to get these projects done, especially with so much of the things that were going on in these past couple of years. So I want to say congratulations. And then getting selected for the Golden State Film Festival and whatnot. I look forward to watching your work, and of course, I would love to work with both of you. So I'm at your disposal, and be a pleasure and an honor to get to work with you, especially in some type of improv project, whether it's even a drama. I mean, you can definitely improvise drama. And I studied with Del Close back in the 1900s in Chicago. So. I'm ready. Yeah, I mean, it's all about the yes and. I love what you said, that I think
nice low-key flex, by the way.
What's that?
I said nice low-key flex.
Right.
Yeah. Well, when Del take me aside and talk to me, say, Vato, you got another cigar? So there's a great documentary right now called For Mad Men Only about Del. Yeah. But that's. I mean, that's amazing. I love what you said, like the cast and the crew. If everyone should do at least the basic improv and get to yes and the power of yes and. So yeah, you guys were very fortunate to work with each other, and I can't wait to see the film. So thank you guys. Thanks for sharing that.
AJ, I cannot thank you enough. That it really means a lot that you would want to bring us onto your lovely show. I would love to come back time and time again. I am free tomorrow at 7.
Love it. Love it. Yes, we'll have you back again. We can't wait. We'll talk about more of your fun projects going on. I did want to, we have to wrap up. How can people, but you've been wonderful guests, absolutely extraordinary. We've appreciated you so much, Noah and Asia. Can you share with our audience, your audience and your fans, how they can get in contact with you, how they can support you? Over to you, Noah.
Well, if you're in New York City, I will be performing at the Comedy Cellar in like an hour. If you can go back in time. I am at Noah A. Waters III on all the socials. The film is at Relationship Killers Film on all the socials. Asia, what am I forgetting?
We're waiting to hear from a lot of festivals. So catch us on a festival in your state later this year, hopefully.
Right.
And you're on IMDb, on Facebook. Is that right? They can contact you, follow you there, support you there. Instagram.
Yep.
Yes.
All of that.
All right, that's great. Okay, well, you have been so lovely tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Any last final thoughts?
Paul, I recognize you.
Uh-oh. Is here, let me start listing off my credits. No. Thank you. Thank you, Asia. Yeah, if you're a fan of comedy, probably like either Mad TV or Cedric Entertainer or something.
Yes.
Yeah, or
Yes.
so, yeah. Or from photocopying my butt and falling into a copy.
Yes, it came out. We were debating whether or not we should bring it up, but you know,
Another weird flex. Maybe
Yes.
when I was photocopying my butt for the Netscape Navigator commercial 12 years ago. I don't
oh man.
Oh, man, it's
so
nice
good.
to meet you.
No, I love it.
Likewise.
I mean, I just, to have a talk show where we don't have to wear pants. It's great. I love it. Let's do it again.
It's amazing.
It is.
It really is. Well, I've enjoyed you both so much. And thank you again to my wonderful co-host, Paul Vato. And be sure to subscribe and follow us, and also follow our wonderful guests. And as my signature salutation, until next time, until we meet again.
Hey.
Yay. I need one. I need a fan. Oh man.
Yeah, I know.
We'll have to get you one. Bye for now.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.